Hey guys, Thinking here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so the Super 17, our boy, the Lobster God himself, about to get his EZA. At the time this video goes up, I think the event comes out in about 12 hours time. So as always, I am doing a team building guide for you guys. So the special category is Dragon Ball Seekers. And as always, I'll be going through my top picks as well as some honourable mentions. And as usual, let me know any units you think I missed or that you want to talk more about down below in the comments section. So here's a standard 30-stage EZA. I know we've all been desperately waiting for one of these. We're going to be able to get ourselves a bunch of AGL orbs. Standard 30-stage setup. The important thing to note is when you get down to stage 20, this is where the full debuff sort of thing comes in that limits some of your team building a little bit. Any STR units or extreme units get an 80% damage reduction. So if you bring STR or extreme units, even if they're Dragon Ball Seekers, they're going to be getting a huge nerf to their damage. So ideally you just don't really want to be bringing them at all. So get through the 30 stages and then obviously we get the all the medals to EZA Super 17. You get a whole bunch of orbs. I think it's pretty much enough to rainbow a unit from scratch. Definitely nice to add to the collection. 11 AGL Grand Kais to help you get him to SA 15, and then of course the 30 stones, as well as there's a couple of missions. So as long as you are using a Dragon Ball Seekers team, you'll get the 34 stones in total. So obviously we've got the Dragon Ball Seekers category here. We'll have a quick look at this at the end just to see if there are any units that I think I missed, but let me start going over the top picks. So obviously the top pick for the leader is the GT trio. They are the leader with the highest leader skill for the category. 4 key HP attack and defense 170%, which is crazy good for the category. The category has a lot of LRs on it, so having 4 key in the leader skill is great, and then 170 to all 3 stats instead of a 170-130 split is obviously incredibly good. So it just is, it goes without saying that if you have this unit, this should be your lead for the team. Obviously they get more defense when they super, so they'll tank better in slot 2 or 3. They also get more key per Dragon Ball Seekers category ally on the team, so because we're going to be running a full Seekers team, it's going to be almost impossible to not 18 key super with them, which then gives them this additional attack as well. They also raise defense on their 12 or 18 key super anyway, so they're going to be very, very good defensively, even though they are an int unit. Funnily enough for this one, Super 17 obviously is AGL. There's not that many tech units that are on this list, and I have heard from the JP players that if you have a solid Dragon Ball Seekers team, it doesn't even really matter. This apparently this EZA is fairly easy. So obviously for anyone who doesn't have the GT trio, your next best option is going to be the free-to-play LR Goku and Arale, 77%. I mean, you can see quite a dip there from the 170%, but they are very good as well. They greatly raise their defense on their 18 key super, so they can tank reasonably well as well. They also get a lot of attack per key sphere obtained, so they do change orbs to rainbow. So if you can pick up a huge amount of rainbow orbs with them, they deal some pretty solid damage, and they have damage reduction if they're in the first slot. Although these passives where it says like as the first attacker, this will only activate once they have attacked in the first slot. So if there's any attacks right at the beginning before they get to go, they won't have the 30% damage reduction when those attacks land. But other than that, they are a really solid unit. There is also, I didn't bring it up as a separate page, but a lot of people did at the time. I know I did because I think I had a bunch of the orbs spare. But the TUR version of the LR obviously has a different name, so can be used on the team as well, although he does share a name with a very good unit that we are of course going to be talking about in a moment. So the only other leader that I would recommend is this guy. He also has a 77% Dragon Ball Seekers lead, but unfortunately even with his EZA, I don't really think that the Goku Jr. is that great. I put together 3 suggested like team builds that I'll show at the very end, and I don't think I put him on any one of them. So but he can fill in for the lead if you're someone who wasn't around when the Goku and Arale event was out, or haven't bothered to do it in any of the times that it has come back. I guess to be fair though, if you're one of those people, you're probably not likely to have this guy either, but obviously those events are available with keys. So those are your 3 best leaders. So then we have a unit that obviously people who have been dipping into Super Battle Road are going to potentially have copies of. Maybe you don't have in Rainbow, but maybe you have a couple of copies. This Goku and Bulma card is actually very, very good. They're able to hit some very high attack stats. They can defend really well. The only thing about them is you look at all this text in their passive. The best way to maximize them on your team is you have to have as many units that fit into Dragon Ball Seekers, Youth, and Dragon Ball Saga as you can. Because they get 7% per unit up to 35%. So that's 5. So basically almost every other unit on the team has to be in those, because they are in all of those categories. So that counts as 1. But then you need to fill out the other ones as well. So I did make a team build that optimizes them, but you don't need to build the team around maxing out their passive. They can still be really good. But yeah, I know a lot of people aren't necessarily going to have them fully maxed out or anything, but they are a very solid unit for the team. Then we have the actual Doconfest Youth Goku. So this is the one I was talking about. You're probably not going to be using the TUR of the free-to-play LR if you have this guy. He does immense damage. We can't stun in the EZA, but he has decent attack and defense. The more HP you have left, the more attack he gets, and then the lower your health, the more tanky he will be, which is really good. And then, of course, once you drop below 59% HP, you get a guaranteed crit that turn, and then you can use his active skill, which does another huge bit of damage, which, of course, because it's in that same turn, is going to be a guaranteed crit. So in the EZA, what will normally happen is you'll drop below 59% HP maybe on turn 2 or 3, depending on where if you get unlucky with super attacks. I guess it could be a little bit earlier, but then this guy's going to be able to fire off his active skill with a guaranteed crit, and in the early stages, I mean, he just finishes him off with that. So, and then as you get a little bit further on, it's just a nice big chunk of extra damage, so he's going to work really, really well. Then we have the LR, Yamcha and Pua. So, of course, they are about to be replaced as the World Tournament LR. They are very good as well. They do fit into a lot of categories for that Goku and Bulma card. They're in Dragon Ball Seekers, DB Saga, and Join Forces. There's no Peppy Gal's enemy, so we don't need to worry about him stunning himself. And yeah, he's just a unit that, whilst being free to play technically, can put out some pretty good numbers attack wise and defend reasonably well. And of course, because a lot of these units are from the DBZ Saga, they share, did I say DBZ? DB Saga, they share a lot of the links like Incredible Adventure Guidance to the Dragon Ball, stuff like that. So helps to link well with the rest of the team. So then we have this Tech Bulma. She's been around for a long time. I think she was the first unit in the game that was fully free-to-play farmable with her own orbs. But she's still really good. I feel like she'll get an EZA one day, actually, now that we think about it. But she's one of the few tech units that I would definitely recommend bringing. She, again, is in Youth, Seekers, and DBZ Saga. She recovers HP with Rainbow Orbs, which is cool. And then she has a great chance to reduce damage by 50%. If that activates, obviously, because she has type advantage as well, she's not going to be taking a huge amount of damage. But obviously, as a free-to-play unit who is only a TUR, she's not going to be dealing crazy damage. But she's definitely a solid select for the team, especially because she does fit into all those categories. So again, she links really well with everybody else as well. So then we have the free-to-play Giru. I think his event has come back on Global since it was first out. So you can use keys if you don't have this guy. He is a Dragon Ball Seekers support unit. 2 key, 30% attack and defense. He himself gets 2 key and attack and defense 60% when there is a Hybrid Saiyans category ally on the team. So you got to make sure you do have at least one Hybrid Saiyan on the team. Obviously, this is themed around him being good friends with Pan from GT. So if you don't have a Hybrid Saiyan on the team, he's still good to support everybody else, but then he's not getting any of this passive. So he's only basically going to have the 30% attack and defense, but he's okay. He doesn't link super well with the team outside of Shattering the Limit, which a few of them have, but he's a very decent support if you need to fill in that final slot. Then we have the Gohan here, the 50% support Gohan. So the reason I included him is obviously, as you've seen, we've talked about a lot of int units so far, especially the LR that leads the team, as well as the youth Goku. So this guy can definitely help to maximize those units and make them really, really dish out tons of damage, as well as tank really well. And he's a pretty solid unit in his own right, especially if you can pick up a decent amount of orbs with him, because he has that nuking style passive. Plus that helps out with the healing as well, because if he changes a bunch of orbs to int, you can then pick them up to get a nice heal, as well as potentially making sure you get 24 key supers with your LRs. So he is very, very good for that. And then in the same vein, we also have the Pan. We've talked about a lot of AGL units like the Goku and Bulma, the free-to-play LR Goku and Arale. So if you are more free-to-play, I mean, I guess to be fair, if you're free-to-play, you probably haven't been summoning on the type banners, but if you're more free-to-play option heavy when it comes to this team, there's a lot of good AGL units, so obviously this Pan can be very helpful for that as well. And then this one final unit I thought I'd mention, just because he's like the only other tech TUR that's on the category, is this GT Trunks. Now, if you're someone who's been playing the game for a while and didn't barber this guy, because he was pretty bad before he got his awakening, he could be quite useful. His passive is not the best. I mean, it only buffs himself, I guess, technically, because there's not going to be a lot of other tech units unless you are using the Bulma. But he does supreme damage, raises his own defense, so he's going to be able to tank reasonably well. He does have Shattering the Limit, which, as I've said already, does fit in pretty well with the team. So I think this guy, I don't imagine many people are going to use him, but I thought I'd mention him because, like I say, he's literally the only other tech TUR on the category. So, and yeah, unfortunately there's no point looking at the extreme because they all get such a massive damage nerf. I mean, obviously, if you don't want to do the EZA straight away and wait for the World Tournament prizes to come in, that's when we'll finally have Demon King Piccolo. And he's on the category, but he's going to get that 80% damage reduction, so kind of pointless. I guess this Trunks would be okay, especially if you are going for the more AGL heavy team. In fact, I should have brought up his page because I think I put him on the AGL centric team build that I made. He greatly raises defense on super, so he can tank reasonably well, and then he's a nuking style unit, although unfortunately he doesn't create orbs, so he could be pretty good. And then who else have we got here? I mean, is this one of the Great 8 ones? Yeah, some of the Goku Giant 8 ones. I mean, none of those cards are particularly good, so yeah, we don't want to go over any of the STR units. This Bulma, not as good as the tech one for this event, so I didn't mention her. And then we just get down to SSRs, so nothing too crazy there. So let us flip over to the in-game view and have a look at some of the teams that I have built here. So okay, so this is the first team. I think this is the team that I probably will run. This is just kind of the stronger version of the team. This is one built around maximizing the youth Goku and Bulma LR passive that we see up here. So we've got the GT Trio as the lead, we've got these guys, and then everyone else on the team is fully maximizing out that youth Dragon Ball Saga and Dragon Ball Seekers categories memberships to fully buff up the AGL LR's passive. And yeah, this team obviously going to be very, very strong. And then the two other examples were, as I talked about a little bit, so this is the more int unit heavy one. Obviously you want to bring a friend GT Trio, and then one rotation you're just going to have the GT Trio with Youth Goku, and then the other rotation GT Trio probably with the LR Goku and Arale, and then you have Gohan to float in and give them that 50% buff, as well as Giru being a support unit as well. So I think this team would work very, very well. And then obviously if you don't have the GT Trio, this is the more AGL themed one. So instead of the int Youth Goku, we have brought the TUR for the LR Goku and Arale, because we have the Pan here to provide them the 50% support. He probably still isn't better than the Int Goku, but if you don't have the Int Goku, or you have him with no dupes, and you actually did farm up a TUR from the LR and Rainbow him, he's probably going to be slightly better. And then that Trunks is here. Obviously, he'll do well if that Pan is on rotation as well. And then Bulma and Giru. I think Bulma made it into every single team build, because, yeah, she's one of the few tech units. She's in all the right categories, so she is going to be really, really good for the event. So, there you go. That is my suggestions, my top tips, my top picks, and my, you know, what's the word? Why have I forgotten it? Honourable mentions, there you go. And a couple of teams that I think you guys can try. Obviously, any mix between those. You can always replace the GT Trio lead with the Goku and Arale and pretty much remake any of these teams anyway. So yeah, if there's any units you think I missed that I should have talked about, let me know in the comment section down below and we can discuss it more down there. Also, the link to my Discord is in the description, so feel free to join. We have team building sections and stuff in there as well. And yeah, good luck on the event and easying your Super 17. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.